Of the Cattle USA Daily Podcast. Happy Monday. Welcome to another weather report. We've got Gary Lezak with the Weather 2020 team on with us today, as we do every single Monday. Gary and I record these on Fridays, so it's so fun to be able to end our week with us chatting and then be able to start out our week with you guys with a weather report and stuff like that. So today, Gary and I are just talking kind of weather trends that we're seeing right now. Just a nice, fun, casual conversation about things that we're seeing across the plains, the Midwest, kind of nationally, and then what we're going to be seeing for the rest of March and into April, and all the things like that. So let's go ahead and get into this conversation with Gary. And before that, make sure you like, subscribe, rate, review, all of the things. We really appreciate it here at the Cattle USA team. And if you are interested in more weather stuff, if Mondays are not enough for you, make sure you go check out our show notes. And there is a link down there for the Weather 2020 team and all of their products with our exclusive Cattle USA link and all of the things like that. So let's go ahead and get into this conversation with Gary. Gary, what are we seeing in the weather this week?
Oh my gosh, Lauren. First of all, what just happened? What did you experience out there in the Manhattan area from
Nothing fun, nothing enjoyable. So we had the blizzard warning and stuff. And we had blizzard-like conditions for probably 30 minutes to an hour, I would say. But it was crazy because you went outside and it wasn't snowing really. We had a little bit of snow on the ground the next morning, but it was just ice pellets coming from the sky. It was the next level up from freezing rain. It wasn't hail, but it was I didn't like it. I didn't like it one bit. I'm so sick of it. So sick of it.
You just described it as one level up from freezing rain. Is that what you just said?
I feel like.
Do you know what that is called? Do you know? They're
No.
they weren't ice pellets, but they were something else, right? Like little snow pellets.
Yeah.
You know what that's called, right?
No.
It's called grapple. Have you ever heard of grapple?
No.
You haven't?
No.
Graupel, Graupel, okay?
What was graupling here in Manhattan?
Yeah, exactly, graupel. It happens in the Rocky Mountains a lot. During the summer when there's a thunderstorm and it's not quite cold enough to snow and it's not quite hail, it's like soft hail, but the little snow pellets, what happens in a little violent manner in the sky, if you can get these little snow pellets. So it sounds to me like you had not quite freezing rain, not quite sleet, not quite snow, graupel.
It was graupling.
Yeah.
We got graupel. And I learned a new vocabulary word today, so here we go.
Remember it.
I will. Such a unique word that next time it happens, I'm going to walk into the house and be like, Wathan, it's graupling outside.
I know, exactly. Call me when you see it again.
Sounds good. How about you? How's Colorado doing?
Colorado's doing great. It's snowing a little bit today. We had that storm too, but just a little bit of snow and a little bit of wind. But my gosh, it hit Kansas City with 60-mile-per-hour winds. Other parts of the plains had lots of wind, and some areas had quite a bit of snow in eastern Nebraska, southern Nebraska. Some areas that really need some moisture got some moisture, so that's good news. So everything's right on target as we look ahead towards the next few weeks, and the pattern is cycling regularly per the LRC, and it's fascinating. But what's going to happen now is we're going to leave winter and move into spring. Spring begins here in just a couple of weeks. Some people will say it already began on March 1st. Meteorologists say it's meteorological spring. No, I don't agree, and I'm a meteorologist. So spring begins after St. Patrick's Day every year. It happens around March 22nd or so when we have the spring equinox. And so that's going to happen here in a couple weeks. So spring is coming, but a lot of times winter doesn't want to fade and give in. So there was going to be a battle between winter and spring. But the pattern is cycling regularly. This year's cycles about every 6 weeks or so. This last storm that just hit, it's interesting. There's this meteorologist in New Orleans. His name is Zach Fradella. He's on the air there, I think on the Fox station down there in New Orleans. And they just had a raging line of thunderstorms with severe weather move through New Orleans. And so I went back to look. Remember, it's a 41, 42-day cycle, roughly, 40 to 42 days, 6 weeks. So you go back 6 weeks ago, exactly, and they had their 10-inch snowstorm there. So when they had their 10-inch snowstorm, I predicted that, hey, this part of the pattern is going to produce another storm in 6 weeks, but it probably won't be snow. The chance of it snowing in New Orleans is you already got your snow once every 20 years, or once every 30 years even. So it returned and produced the severe thunderstorms. But if you go back 40 days before that and 40 days before that, they had severe weather in each cycle, November 1st, December 10th, January 21st, and this past week. So I found the X posts from Zach, and I lined them up, all four, and you can see the LRC just by looking at that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, that's so cool.
Yeah, and that's happening everywhere, no matter where you live. These things are happening every 6 weeks, but you might forget. But they are literally happening if you monitor it closely, especially if you're a place where you're getting stormy weather like New Orleans did this year. You're going to see these things repeating, and you're going to go, that's interesting, and that's what the LRC is all about.
Nice. So I'm going to see growling in 6 more weeks. Is that what you're saying?
Or maybe it'd be severe weather and hail.
I would much prefer it if it was just rain without like the hail and the severe weather. We had to do 2 insurance claims on 2 vehicles last year for hail. I'd rather not start out
We don't need
2025 with that too. So
I'll try to give you advanced warning. One of our
appreciate it.
One of our products at weather2020.com, and you can get it right now for just $99.99. You get the whole season's forecast for severe weather events. And so you just go to weather2020.com, you'll find it on there. But we have our severe weather forecast product, we have our hurricane forecast product, and we have our winter storm forecast product. So we're able to predict when and where severe weather will happen. And so this past storm predicted 3 weeks earlier that it would happen between March 3rd and March 7th. It happened. And so not only did it happen in our zone that we predicted, the severe weather happened in that zone. So for storm chasers, or if you're interested in when severe weather is going to happen, the next event is due mid to late next week. So it'll be coming soon. And so as it approaches, just know that that's in our severe weather guide. So we've got, I believe, 12 or 14 periods of time when severe weather is going to strike your area, for north central Kansas, for Nebraska, for western Nebraska, western Kansas. As we go through the season, those severe weather risks migrate west a little bit as the warmer air comes in and the more moisture comes in from the Gulf of Mexico. But just know that all of those events, 90% of them are predictable. The ones that are not predictable, 10% of them, are some of those large hail events that are from an isolated thunderstorm that may be right over your area. One time there was $1 billion in damage in Omaha, Nebraska.
Yep.
From this hailstorm that just happened to form right over those car lots. And it was a disaster because it destroyed so many cars, and it ended up being $1 billion disaster. So that's the 10% that might not be predictable.
Huh.
Big hail events that are part of a big outbreak are predictable.
So cool. That's so crazy. I love it. Yeah, no, if I can spend $99 to save on the $500 deductible, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. Absolutely.
You know when to move your car in.
Yes, precisely. Well, what are we going to see this coming week, Gary? Next week, what are we seeing across the plains, across the Midwest, across the states? What are we seeing?
Yeah, there's another storm that is developing. It's going to be a strong one, and it's interesting. In fact, let me just go analyze it real quick and look at the data. But it does look like, at this time of the year, north and west of the storm center is a winter component. South and east of the storm center is a spring event where you get a severe thunderstorm. So the setup, I'm looking at the data right now, a really, really powerful surface low. Okay, I mean, this is like a Category 2 strength hurricane type system is forecast to develop by Friday, March 14th to 15th over the Plain States. So it's it's a few days away, so we'll see. But it's got a major snowstorm and blizzard over parts of the Dakotas, western South Dakota, western North Dakota, and into western Nebraska, depending on the track of this thing. But it is literally, if this is at all correct, it's about as strong or stronger than the storm that just came through a little farther north. So what it does, I'm just looking at what the latest data shows, and I'll confirm this as we get closer to it, but it has like 1 to 2 feet of snow over North Dakota. And let me tell you, that's an area that needs moisture right now. And so we predicted that March and April could be wild up there, and it looks like it just very well may be. For Kansas and Missouri area, it sort of misses that area. There's a severe weather risk, but not. It's a fast-moving line of thunderstorms that may last 20 minutes, so probably not much rain. But anyway, that's what's down the road. And then something else to keep on our radar, Lauren, is the potential for the end of the month part of the pattern that produced the brutal cold in January. Remember, 6-week cycle, all right, roughly. Okay, you're all in on a secret if you're listening to me right now. And January 5th through the 20th, we had really cold blasts of air and some snowstorms. 6 weeks later, February the 15th, around Valentine's Day to the 25th, we had brutally cold air again. That part of the pattern returns. The probability of it being another Arctic outbreak is low. The probability of it being a cold outbreak where it drops down to 20 degrees, not 0, but 20, is pretty high. So there's going to be a couple really strong cold fronts later this month, and possibly another one of these big storms. So we'll have to watch that. That's late this month, early April. And then the next time that comes through in mid-May, it's too late for a freeze. But in the Dakotas, could be a very late season frost or 35, 37 degrees way up there. Just something to keep in mind. But those are the things that are down the road.
Mood to go find a groundhog and pull it out of its hole, because you're telling me that I'm still not going to get my warmer weather until like April. Are you kidding me?
No, this month you're going to go up and down. Before that,
I don't know if that's any better.
I know, it's called March weather madness.
It's just March Madness.
Yeah, but between now and when that colder air is due to arrive, it's going to warm up. So you're going to probably get a 70-degree day.
I'll have some of my warm days scattered throughout. It'll be all right. I'll survive.
And
oh
then
my
spring
gosh.
will get here, and then summer will get here, and I promise it'll heat up.
I don't know if I'm quite ready for that yet. Still living in delusion about, summer heat, because it'll come around and I'll start complaining about it. So it's fine. And then I'll start asking you, hey, Gary, when is it going to cool down?
I know.
Oh my gosh.
And by the way, the July version, I'll have to time it out for you all, but the July version of this cold outbreak will produce a cold front. So we can predict when that cooler summer week is likely going to be based on the LRC as well. But obviously in July, there will not be any snowstorms. Okay. So people wonder, hey, how can the pattern be the same? Well, in July, it's going to produce some cooler weather during that cool spell part of the pattern, but it won't be an Arctic outbreak in July.
Can't say it's going to be 20 degrees in July, huh?
Nope. maybe a rare 49 or 50.
Hey, I mean, I would take that in the middle of July.
For the low, highs in the
I'd still
60s,
take it.
which is fine.
I'd still take that. I'd be a fan. Are you kidding? If it could just stay like in the 50s, 60s, light breeze all year long, mwah, I'd be a happy camper.
You don't like 70s?
Okay. Every once in a while for like a couple days,
So
it could do.
70s. It sounds to me like you need to live in like Aspen, Breckenridge, Colorado area. That's 50s, 60s, and 70s all during the whole summer.
Except it gets really cold there during the winter.
That's true. True. But it does.
So I could live there during the summer and then snowbird.
Right.
I feel like that's the solution. That's the solution to it.
Yeah.
We've got it figured out. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love it. All right. Well, what else? Anything else that we're seeing across the nation this coming week? Anything else new for the spring months? Anything like that?
Yeah, we're just monitoring, maybe in next week's report let's do a drought analysis. Let me do one of those.
Yeah.
I have to go dive deeply into it. Because it's important. I would like to see what happens with this next storm. I told you it's going to hit the northern plains, an area that has been drier. So if they get 1 or 2 feet of snow, like the models are saying, that's 1 or 2 inches liquid water that will soak into the ground there, which will start decreasing the drought areas. And when we look at droughts, they are either expanding or they are shrinking. And so this year's been slightly shrinking. Just so you know, that's a trend. That's a good trend. So let's see if that picks up momentum, which will be a topic of next week, because I need to do some more analysis. So that'll be one thing we talk about next week is where are the dry pockets? What's happening? Are we looking, what are the probabilities of drought in your area? Well, let's look into that next week.
Amazing. That sounds like a perfect plan to me. I cannot wait. Thank you, Gary, for your time today. And to all you listeners out there, I hope that you were able to get some insight on what we're going to be seeing this week on your amazing Monday morning. I have sourdough that I'm going to go start baking once we get off of this podcast. So it's a real exciting Friday over here at the Moylan household. I fully turned into a sourdough wife. And I'm baking sourdough for all my friends now. This is the second day in a row that I've been baking sourdough. All of my friends are. My employee Allie, she gets sourdough every Monday from me. I'm like, hey, employee benefits over here. You get sourdough bread from me. Her mom even texted me and was like, hey, can I get some sourdough too? Can you send some home with Allie this weekend? Of course I did, but then Allie forgot it at home. So I'm not sure if that was on purpose or if that was an accident.
Love it.
But yeah, I'm going to go spend the rest of my morning baking sourdough.
Is it easy to make?
Yeah, it actually is. Okay, so I was really, really intimidated by it for a really long time. And I pushed it off for so long. I was like, I'm not going to be a sourdough person. It's not for me. And then my husband and I love sourdough, though. So I was buying it from another place here. And I was like, okay, I can make this. I can do it. And one of our friends talked me into it. And I started making it. And now, I have the recipe memorized. It does take, 2 days to make. But it's only, an hour worth of work.
Right.
Across those 2 days, and the rest of it is just letting it sit on the counter.
That sounds great.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's so healthy for you. And sometimes I mix calories for homemade. If it's homemade, do calories count? I don't know, but it's sourdough, so it's gut healthy. So it makes me feel better.
Exactly. I need that gut healthy. That's a good idea. So I'm subscribing to your sourdough bread machine.
Sounds good. I'll start sending you sourdough weekly in the mail. Oh, perfect. Well, Gary, thank you for your time. As always, I appreciate it. And we hope that you have a great rest of your weekend. And to all of you listeners out there, make sure you subscribe, rate, review, all of the things. And make sure you tune in tomorrow for another episode. And next week, we're going to be talking drought stuff. So make sure you tune back in next Monday and we'll talk more of all that. So if you guys are interested in Gary's product with the Weather 2020 team, all of that jazz will be in the show notes down below. So make sure you go check that out. We have an exclusive Cattle USA link that you guys can follow through that and get a little bit of a discount and all the things. So make sure you go check all of that out. And I hope you all have a great rest of your Monday. We'll see y'all.